So many autumns have faded away from my life. I have grown tired of serving you every day and every night. Slowly, I am becoming old and decrepit. Old age impairs the beauty of my body. Can't it so happen at times that a man will approach his wife?
Being the wife of an ascetic Brahmin, Lopamudra perhaps doesn't want the fate of 1,000 wives from the Brahmin families to be like this. Women will day in, day out serve their husbands in their customs, rites, and penances, and their husbands, in return, will never pay attention to their wives' hopes, wishes, and physical desires. This is not acceptable from a woman's point of view. Husbands should be able to understand their wives' emotional desires. Lopamudra's words exhibit both doubt and appeal. Although in the Vedas the word man is not mentioned, in its stead we find the usage of the word Brishan. Yet Lopamudra's fiery words express her wailing and lamentation. Infirmity was destroying her beauty. She didn't want anyone else to suffer the same fate. Brishan men should be attracted to women in time. This appeal of Lopamudra quite unbelievably comes to us during the time of Rig Veda. Lopamudra was a high-minded Rishika. She was educated. She understood the importance of the rules of restraints of a Brahmarshi. She was also well aware of the fact that not only in her house but also in the house of 1,000 other Indian Brahmin families a similar situation existed, where the married male partner was too busy performing the rules of restraint, and their wives were supposed to serve them tirelessly. They too had to face the displeasure of unfulfilled sexual desires. Lopamudra had raised her voice against such injustices. According to Lopamudra, Agastya is not the first sage who has observed the rules of truth in order to discover true philosophy. Even before him, few sages had achieved this feat. Keeping in mind the rules of restraint, they too united with their wives. And even if they hadn't done so, Lopamudra appealed to all the wives of the rishis who were spending their days with their husbands under the rule of restraint should now sexually unite with their sensual husbands. There is no doubt in the fact that even a fearsome sage like Agastya was baffled upon hearing Lopamudra's words. He married willingly, but his wife was feeling deprived. She accused him of sexual deprivation. Agastya then remarked that their efforts had not been futile. The gods had saved them, and they could enjoy the various objects of desire whenever they wanted to, much the same way they could conquer each other through intercourse. This Lopamudra story, as mentioned in the Vedas, happens to be one of the oldest conversation dialogue-based story, and it is perhaps most ancient literary element where we see a married woman's intimate sexual desires being expressed openly by the woman herself. But Mahabharata tells a different story. There, the ferocity and sharpness of Lopamudra's words are much refined and cultivated. Sexuality as a topic remains silent there, under the epic sarcasm and the exaggeration of the sarcasm. Let's see Lopamudra's story in the Mahabharata. Here the story begins with Rishi Agastya. The illustrious Rishi Agastya noticed his deceased ancestors hanging in a pit with heads downwards. Seeing Agastya, his ancestors started talking in unison. "If our generation is not carried forward by you, then we have to perish in this hell." Agastya pacifies them and tells them that he will fulfill their wishes. But even after a lot of searching, Agastya could not find a suitable bride for himself. It was then that he created an excellent woman out of the most beautiful body part of different animals. Just then, the king of Vidarbha was undergoing ascetic penances for obtaining offspring. Rishi Agastya placed the lady he created into the womb of the king's wife. In due course of time, a girl child was born to the queen. She was named Lopamudra. Slowly, Lopamudra grew up. In time, Rishi Agastya approached the king of Vidarbha for his daughter's hand in marriage to him. King Vidarbha swooned away upon hearing this. As he was well aware of Rishi Agastya's fearsome nature, he was unwilling to give the Rishi his daughter, but he dared not refuse him. Lopamudra assured her parents that they could save themselves by giving her hand in marriage to Agastya without hesitation. Lopamudra and Agastya got married with due rites. Agastya accepted Lopamudra as his wife and instructed her to abandon all her expensive robes and ornaments and to put on rags, barks, and deerskin. Lopamudra too followed the instructions and put on the same, and like a holy wife, accompanies her husband in severe penance. In this way, time passes by. One day, Rishi Agastya saw Lopamudra blazing in ascetic splendor come up after the bath in her season. Out of desire and attraction, he approached her for marital union. But now, for the first time, we hear Lopamudra's calm but bashful protest in the Mahabharata story. She tells,
Rishi, you have accepted me as your wife only in the hope of begetting an offspring. But even if you want a child, there are certain questions regarding my likes, dislikes, and preferences. You have to fulfill that first. In my father's palace, I had my favorite gorgeous bed. I want a similar kind of bed to be arranged for our union. You are to be decked in garlands and smeared in sandalwood. I too will come to you decked in ornaments as per my wish. Otherwise, I cannot meet you wearing rags and deerskin. We should never contaminate the sacred clothing of a hermit.
here the statement, despite being different, is no less fiery than the words of the Vedas. We find her protest here as a woman in the honor of the entire feminine community. Sages will get married and become worldly, yet in bed they would not provide any sexual pleasure to their wives. Why will women put up with such deprivation and ignorance? That is why Lopamudra's demand to be decked up in jewels is seen as a symbolic protest. For her, just like rags and deerskin are considered sacred in order to perform her husband's rites and rituals. Similarly, during sexual union too, bright costumes are in no way impure. Both the costumes are used for two entirely different purposes. Hence, they should be treated differently. Here too, without doubt, we find Rishi Agastya to be embarrassed. But he did not get angry regarding anything. He calmly told Lopamudra that he didn't have the same amount of wealth as her father, king of Vidarbha. Now we get to see another side of Lopamudra here. Here she doesn't blame her husband. Rather, she says,
Is there anything impossible for you? Whatever worldly treasures are possible to gain in this universe, you can gain all those through your penance.
Agastya in reply said,
That I meet is true, but if I do so, it will waste my ascetic merit. So refer a way that may avoid in losing my ascetic merit.
Lopamudra in return said,
My season is about to get over within a few days. After that, I will not cohabitate with you. It will not be otherwise. I don't want your penance to be disrupted because of my desires. But the materials I have demanded for our unison has to be fulfilled by you. Now, you act as per your wish.
There are multiple cases in India where the husbands often neglect their married wives in their pursuit of superiority and dominance. Lopamudra also could have accepted this situation like 100 other women. Even she could have, just like the others, at the beck and call of her husband, easily cohabitated with him. But no, here she is speaking on behalf of all the neglected and deprived women. She asserts her point logically that even married women can have certain desires and wishes, and those desires and wishes are very much valid. She wants her husband to descend from the spiritual land and make preparations for the worldly life, a preparation that will be arranged exclusively for her, or worthwhile only when both are equally desirous of unison. Here, Agastya has to accept defeat in front of Lopamudra's words because he is a seer. He understands the importance of Lopamudra's words. Agastya says,
"Oh, the Blessed One, if you wish so, then I will go out in quest of wealth. Meanwhile, you stay here as it pleases you."
Then the illustrious Agastya Muni in search of wealth visited various kingdoms. At last, he earned his fair share of wealth from King Ilval. He returned to Lopamudra and united with her as per her wishes. So Lopamudra's desires got fulfilled. She gave birth to Agastya's legitimate son. They named him Dhritarshta Idmavahu. Prior to this desired union, Agastya wanted to know from Lopamudra whether she wanted one son worthy of 10 sons, or did she want 10 sons worthy of 100 sons? In reply, Lopamudra, who was highly educated in those times, said,
Let me have one son equal to 1,000 sons, because one good and learned son is preferable to many dumb ones.
Thank you for watching. Please like and share this video.